What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Swole, TCG, and we're out here with that fire, that heat, that sauce once again, boys. Yo, listen, you guys asked for it, so here it is. We got the pure canine combo, guys, so I'll go over the lock with it. I do not have the lock card on me right now, but you guys wanted the sauce, and I'm just gonna go over the whole entire fundamentals of pure canine, all right? So everything you need to know about canine, I will go over inside this video. So if you already know some stuff about canine, bear with me, some of this will be redundant, all right, because I am covering every card, what it does, how it works, all right? So I'm just gonna make this an in-depth guide to canine. So if this is your first time to canine, you're gonna know exactly what to do and how to utilize these cards, all right? So we're gonna put that information out there. Guys, before we jump into this video, all right, did you guys get your steps in? Yo, man, did y'all get your steps in? Listen, guys, we're not just bettering ourselves mentally, we're bettering ourselves physically, all right? So get out there, get active, all right? You guys don't gotta be a bodybuilder like me. You don't gotta go to the gym like me. You don't gotta do that. You don't. But get outside, man. We got this beautiful fall weather. This weather is insane right now. This is like this fall and spring, man. I love that because it's like that perfect cool. Get outside, guys. Get outside, enjoy the leaves changing, get that fresh air, go for a walk, put this video on. By the time you finish this video, you're done with your walk and you already bettered yourself. You're already helping your cardiovascular health. You're already helping circulation, helping improve injuries because you're actually getting fresh blood into those areas and helping it recover properly. You're bettering your metabolism. Your metabolism is going to increase because you're doing more activity than your body's used to. So it's going to spark your metabolism, start burning more calories. And what does that mean when you burn more calories and your metabolism up? You lose weight, all right? It's gonna better you guys, all right? It's gonna better you guys as a person, as a human being, and that's what we wanna do. So make sure you guys stay active and get out there and stay fresh with it, all right? And if you're my soul's, yo, boys, listen, boys, once you've crushed that gym, all right? Once you finish the workout, you're not done. Job's not finished, bro. Job's not finished, all right? Go hop on that treadmill. You know I'm busting out YouTube videos left and right. Pop on a video. Pop on it. It don't even have to be my video. It could be a shorter video too. You know, pop on a video, hop on that treadmill, hop on that Stairmaster, get your cardio in, all right? It's gonna help you so much more, all right? That's how you continuously burn calories after your workout, all right? So make sure you guys are doing that. Cardio is just as important, guys. And I appreciate all of my swolies hitting the comments. Let me know they hit the gym. I love that. Man, when you guys hit the comments with that, I love that. That's my favorite thing to see because that motivates me too. You know, I'm out here motivating y'all and then y'all in turn motivate me. So it's just like this endless funnel of motivation and I love it, all right? So make sure you guys stay active. That's what we got to do out here. You know, we're just bettering ourselves mentally, physically, and it's beautiful. And I hope you guys get ready for this because we're going to just go ahead and jump on into this pure canine combo guide. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and jump on in. Now for the first combo, we're gonna do our one card combos, all right? So the number one combo and the best starter of all out of the whole entire deck, everybody thinks this is Naroi, but no, it is Case going to Naroi is the best, all right? So naturally, we just got 4 random other cards in our hand, just 4 hand traps. So we'll go ahead and start off with activating our copy of A Case for K9. So for the people that are not familiar with A Case for K9, when this card is activated, you can add 1 K9 monster from your deck to your hand. K9 monsters you control gain 900 attack during any turn in which your opponent has activated a monster effect in the hand or graveyard. If this card in the spell and trap zone is destroyed by card effect, you can set 1 K9 quick play spell from your deck or graveyard. You can only use this effect of A Case for K9 once per turn. You can only activate 1 Case for K9 per turn, all right? So I'm not going to sit here and read all the cards, but I want you guys to realize like the different effects. Actually, I probably will just because I want newbies to understand this deck in full, right? So we'll just go ahead and move these off to the side. So our copy of A Case for K9, obviously we don't know what the other 4 cards in our hand. That's why we have 4 hand traps, but we're just going to go ahead and start off with grabbing our copy of Naroi. All right, then we will go ahead and normal summon our copy of Naroi, and then we will on summon use Naroi's effect. So on summon, Naroi has the effect to special summon 1 K9 monster from deck, okay? So once he special summons 1 monster from deck, you are locked into K9 monsters, all right? So once you're locked into K9 monsters, you're only locked because of the card you summon. All right, so whatever you summon off of Naroi is the only thing that's locking you. So once that monster is gone, you're no longer locked into K9. That's something you need to realize. Some people try to cheat you out and say, oh no, you're still locked. No, once the monster that was summoned off of Naroi is gone, you are no longer locked, all right? Then it has the additional effect that you can go ahead and activate his effect to send a face-up K9 card on your field to the grave to look at your opponent's hand, all right? And that's what he's most known for. So anyways, we'll activate the Naroi effect. After I go through the card text with you guys, I will no longer do that. And I'll just pump out through the combos for you so you guys just see everything. But for the first time when we're looking at them, I will go over each effect with these guys so you guys, everybody knows what they do. So we're gonna go ahead and search for our copy of Jokel. Now, this is also very dependent on what your opponent has, what you're dealing with. From here, before you even activate Jokel's effect, what we're gonna go ahead and do is activate Naroi's other effect. Like I said, we're gonna send a copy of A Case for K9 to the grave to go ahead and look at our opponent's hand. This right here is gonna give us hand knowledge so we understand what we're working against. And from there, you can just be very confident and plan methodically based off of what your opponent has. So that is very useful. And that is the first thing you wanna do off of Naroi before you go into anything, all right? Now, Jokel's effect, all right? Obviously, he can be normal summon if your opponent has 2 or more cards in hand, but also you can reveal this card and another monster, another level 5 monster, and special summon both of them from the hand, all right? When you do that, you are locked out of summoning a light monster with those monsters, okay? And then also during the main phase, you can add 1 non-aqua K9 monster from your deck to your hand, all right? So pretty much you can add anything besides Jokel. So we'll go ahead and activate Jokel's effect here. And what that's going to go ahead and grab us is our copy of Lantern. Now, Lantern is a monster reborn, all right? So same thing as Jokel essentially, except you reveal Lantern and then you target 1 K9 monster inside your graveyard, and it has to be K9. It is not as generic as Jokel. And then you can special summon both of them. Then it also has the additional effect that during the main phase, you can go ahead and activate his effect to add a K9 spell trap from deck to hand, all right? So after you add the copy of Lantern, we will go ahead and XYZ summon, overlaying Naroi and our copy of Jokel into our copy of Ripper. Now from here, you can do multiple things. So this deck performs 20 times better when you get hand trapped. If you get food, you're in the sauce, all right? But I mean, I love when my opponent fools me because that means just all my K9s are absolutely live. But we'll go ahead and activate Ripper's effect, detaching our copy of Naroi. Now to go over Ripper. So you can detach 1 material from this card, add 1 K9 card from deck to hand, so any K9 card. Then if your opponent has activated a monster effect, this turn you can set 1 K9 quick play spell from deck or graveyard. This comes up quite a bit. That's why I love when my opponent hand traps me before I summon her out, because now I know I'm going to get the additional card off of Ripper. So that is absolutely huge. Then the other effect that everybody knows her for very well is when your opponent activates a monster effect in hand or graveyard, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, negate that effect. You can only use this effect to K9 Ripper once per turn, okay? So now that we activated Ripper's effect, detaching our copy of Naroi, we will go ahead and add us our copy of K9 Release Restraint. So you're probably wondering why we're adding K9 Release Restraint here. We want to have our copy of K9 Release Restraint because obviously our opponent did not hand trap us and we want to get the quick play. This also insulates us here, all right? So this is why this quick play is just absolutely phenomenal. You can target 1 K9 XYZ monster or, and this is where a lot of people don't realize, or 1 rank 5 XYZ monster. So any generic rank 5 XYZ, we can also target with this card, all right? Special summon from the extra deck 1 K9 XYZ with a different name by using that monster you control as an with different name by using that monster you control. This is treated as an XYZ summon. Transfer the materials to the summon monster at the end of the battle phase. If your K9 monster battled this turn, you can set this card from your graveyard. You can only use each effect of K9 Release Restraint once per turn, all right? So this is very phenomenal because you can always recycle this. It always recurs after you after you battle, you can just easily reset this, and then you have this again. So this card is just phenomenal. But also the fact is, with Force Release, you're not restricted to just using this in the main phase. All right, this has no restriction on what phase you can use it in. You can use it in draw phase, you can use it in standby phase, you can do it in main phase. So using this in standby phase and bringing out Hound is actually pretty crazy. So a lot of people don't realize like how cracked this card is. This card is very phenomenal for pushing through boards, and it also is really good to outplay your opponent if they try to imperm Veiler or use some kind of targeting on your XYZs in general. So if I make another generic XYZ, if I try to go for a lock with the XYZs, you have this card to snipe that card and let the effects go through. All right, so this is very important to have. After you add this card, you're going to go ahead and activate Lantern's effect, targeting the Naroi that's in our graveyard to special summon them both out. Once you have them special summoned out, you'll go ahead and activate Lantern's effect here, and that is going to add you another K9 spell. So from here, we're going to go ahead and add our copy of Force Release. All right, obviously everybody should know what this one does, but during the main phase, target one K9 XYZ. So unfortunately, this is during the main phase, and it has to be a K9 monster. You control special summon from the extra deck one K9 monster with a different name. By using that monster you control, this is treated as an XYZ summon, transfer its materials to the summon monster, then you can destroy one card your opponent controls. At the end of the battle phase, if your K9 monster battled this turn, you can send this card you can set this card from your graveyard. You can only use each effect of K9 Force Release once per turn. All right, so Force Release obviously is an extremely cracked card, being able to non-target pop a card on field. The only restriction that you have to target a K9 monster, it has to be a different name, and then on top of that, it has to be in the main phase. All right, so that's the only downside to Force Release, but there's really no downside to Force Release ever. All right, now that we got both of our copies of the quick play here, we can go ahead and rank up again. So we'll go ahead and overlay these two and go into our copy of Nash Knight. And then from there, we'll go ahead and proceed to set these two cards. All right, so what you're looking at, off of one case for K9, we have 4 cards in hand. We have both quick plays, one also being a pop. So this is 2 extra XYZs for interruption on your opponent's turn. We have a Ripper for interruption on our opponent's turn, and we also have a Nash Knight for interruption on our opponent's turn. Release Restraint can also go through the Nash Knight. So if they try to negate the Nash Knight when you use Nash Knight's effect, you can just go ahead and release Restraint. There's a lot of playability with these cards. You just have to make sure your timing is correct. All right, now obviously if you use Release Restraint onto your Nash Knight, you're not going to get the effect of Nash Knight to resolve to suck up a monster, so keep that in mind. All right, Nash Knight does have to attach the monster to itself, so if he's no longer technically on the field and he's material, the effect will not go through. All right, so make sure you guys realize that. But this is going to just help you go through interruptions. After you use Nash Knight's effect, you can use Release Restraint to rank him up into a copy of your Jax, and then from there it's just going to be wraps from there. So we'll go ahead and show you the copies here of the other cards. So we have K9 Jax. This card is just absolutely phenomenal. If this card is XYZ summoned or your opponent activates a monster effect in the hand or graveyard, detach one material from this card, then target one monster on the field, destroy it. You can only use this effect of K9 Jax once per turn. A K9 monster with this card as material gains this effect during any turn in which your opponent has activated a monster effect in the hand or graveyard. Any battle damage this card inflicts to your opponent is doubled. So this helps out a lot for OTK lines. Obviously, a lot of people don't realize that additional effect that gives the XYZ that has this as material. So ranking this guy up via quick plays into your werewolf can give you game, because literally your werewolf could be attacking 3 times for 3,300 at double damage, right? So that's obviously 9,900 damage, right? So this card is just absolutely phenomenal, and typically what you're going to rank up into, and you can bait out a lot of interaction by using Forced on your Ripper to go into the Jax, and then from Jax you resolve Force's effect here to non-target pop a card, and then on a new chain you can use Jax effect to pop a card. So it is very, very, very strong. So that's something to keep in mind when you're going into it. Then obviously our other target for this will be Werewolf as well. So Werewolf is when this card has material, it can attack a number of times. for each battle phase up to the number of materials attached to it. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can detach one material from this card, then activate this effect depending on whose turn it is. So on your turn, you can banish up to one card each from your opponent's field and graveyard. Opponents, you could look at your opponent's hand and then banish one card from it, face up until end phase, and then you can only use this effect of Canine Werewolf once per turn. So this card is phenomenal on your turn and is phenomenal on your opponent's turn, being able to snipe cards away from your opponent, being able to get rid of resources from your opponent, and also the fact that it can just keep attacking, especially when we have it overlaid with a bunch of materials, is just absolutely phenomenal. Then our last target for this archetype is Hound, all right? So Hound is a very phenomenal card that's very good into Mitsu matchup because it cannot be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effects the turn it is special summoned. Each time your opponent activates a monster effect, this card gains 500 attack. When that effect resolves, once per turn during the standby phase, you can detach one material from this card and target one card on the field to banish it. All right, so that's why where this comes into play, like you can just easily rank up into him in the standby phase and then just go ahead and banish a card from the field. He's also just a massive beat stick, as opponents love to activate monster effects, so he can just become an absolute tower. So just a very phenomenal card, a very flexible card for this archetype. And that is it. That's all you're ending on right here with just one card. So with one card in hand, you get all of this interruption, which is just absolutely absurd. All right, so we'll go ahead and show you the next line, another one card for you guys, and that is going to be the less optimal line, where everybody thinks that obviously you think the Noroi is the best card to start with, but it is not the best card, because you will see why here in a second. Case is better. Obviously you'll still start with Noroi, but Case is better. So with Noroi, it's the same concept. You're going to go ahead and activate Noroi. It's a special summon from deck. And now from here, this is where it gets awkward, right? So before we started with Case. So right now, Noroi can't look at hand. We have no idea what our opponent has in hand right now. So obviously we want to get that hand advantage. So from here, what we're going to go ahead and do is bring out our copy of Lantern. All right, so Lantern, we'll go ahead and activate Lantern's effect on summon, and that is going to go ahead and grab us our copy of a Case for Canine. Now, after we grab our copy of a Case for Canine, we will go ahead and activate our copy of a Case for Canine, and then we will go ahead and grab us our copy of Jokul. Now, this is all dependent based off of what the cards are you have in your hand. But say this Noroi was your only card in hand that you could use, right? And you have 4 hand traps in hand, all right? Then you're going for Jokul. If you have other cards in your hand, you're most likely not going for Jokul. It all depends on the other cards that are in your hand. But I'm just showing you based off of one singular card, all right? So we'll grab our copy of Jokul. From here, we'll go ahead and activate Noroi's effect, sending our copy of a Case for Canine to the grave to look at our opponent's hand. Now we have hand knowledge. We'll go ahead and overlay these two to go into our copy of Ripper once again. Now we'll go ahead and activate our copy of Ripper to go ahead and add to our hand one of our canine cards here. Now this is where you have to get a little bit flexible. We don't know what else we have inside hand. We don't know what our opponent has, so we need to just be as flexible as possible here. So we'll go ahead and grab us a copy of, doesn't really matter too much here. We could grab us a copy of Land. It's weird just playing off of one card, but just for shits and giggles, we're just gonna go over it. So what you can do here is go for a copy of Lantern. It really just depends on what your opponent has in hand and how you're gonna play this. But like, say you know your opponent has a bell, like you can just bait out interactions first and just go Lantern effect, target Noroi, have them negate it, and then obviously you can just go Jokul effect, all right? So like, you really need to play it based off of what you see in your opponent's hand and also what cards you have. Now that we have these 2 cards in hand, we can either use Lantern's effect or we can use Jokul's effect, because we also have a Canine in graveyard. We haven't used Jokul's effect yet. We already normal summoned, so I'm gonna go ahead and use Jokul's effect here to special out him in Lantern. Then we'll go ahead and activate Jokul's effect again. And that's gonna go ahead and grab us our copy of Canine Azuna. All right, so then we also have an eruption on our opponent's turn here. We'll go ahead and overlay these two. And then from there, your best bet on this option, depending on your hand, all right? Like you're 9 times out of 10, you'll go into a copy of Nash Knight. It just depends on what your opponent has, all right? So if your opponent has something else in hand entirely, then you can go into something completely different, all right? But this is all off of one card. You're getting up to 2 XYZs, another layer of interruption, and still have 4 non-engine in hand, just off of one card. So that's off of Naroi. So if you notice, it's a little bit more awkward. You get a little less value by going through, starting with Naroi. When you start with Case, you still get the hand advantage, because the hand advantage is everything, right? We want to know what our opponent has. We want to know how to play our interactions properly and know when to use our non-engine in hand. So seeing our opponent's hand is absolutely mandatory. So with that being said, having to play like that gets us away from getting the quick plays. Yes, you could sub this out for a quick play if you wanted to from the Ripper. Or I'm sorry, but well, you couldn't really, because you needed a monster for Jokul to bring out Jokul. So either way, you're going to end up on a monster, and then Jokul obviously needs to just bring back the Azuna. You could also use Jokul's effect to go ahead and grab you a copy of Lantern as well. So we could have just grabbed another copy of Naroi, which I'll just go ahead and show you guys that as well from this. But from right here where you're at, you have 4 non-engine and an Azuna. So an additional way to look at this, depending on the cards in your hand, guys, please, I can't stress this enough, it also depends on the other 4 cards in your hand, and then also what you saw from your opponent. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and rewind this back here and put these cards back in our hand. And instead of grabbing a Lantern here, what we're going to do is just go ahead and grab us a copy of Jokul. All right, so once we grab our copy of Jokul, we'll do Jokul reveal Jokul, and then we'll activate Jokul effect, and then we'll grab a copy of Lantern. And then from here, you can go ahead and overlay these two into a copy of Nash. And then we can go ahead and activate Lantern's effect to bring back our Naroi and special out him. And then we can go ahead and overlay these two into our copy of Jax. So then we have an extra layer of interruption our opponent has to deal with. So you can still end on 3 XYZs with this build, and have 4 non-engine, or maybe you have more engine inside your hand. Maybe there's already an Azuna in hand. If there was an Azuna in hand, you would have played it differently because you would have grabbed a quick play. So, but I'm just showing you based off of one card. So one card gets you 3 XYZs, all right? Or one card can get you 2 XYZs with 2 quick plays and follow-up. So keep that in mind. These are all different routes you can do just with the pure. Now we'll go ahead and go over a couple of 2-card combos with the locks, all right? So we'll go ahead and put all this back and cover this for you guys. So, all right. We'll go ahead and do a Fuwalos, and we will do a copy of, let's get the full setup here. We'll do a copy of 7th Tachyon and a copy of the Goat. All right, so this is a pretty cool one right here. So with this right here, we obviously have a Fuwalos for the discard. I'll just go ahead and put in the other 3 Fuwalos here, just so we can see the full hand advantage that you have from this combo. So we have 3 Fuwalos, a Case for K9, and a 7th Tachyon. All right, so naturally what you want to do when you have 7th Tachyon, guys, you don't want to activate this right out the gate. All right, and what I want to cover here for everybody is how powerful 7th Tachyon is before we even get started into this combo. I just want you guys to realize how crazy this card is. All right, so with 7th Tachyon, I have to read this because somebody asked me if I could use Ripper for 7th Tachyon. So some people don't understand how 7th Tachyon works, so we're just going to cover it. All right, so you reveal 1 number XYZ monster from your extra deck that has a number between 101 and 107. So anything from 101 to 107, C101 to C107, you can reveal in its name. Add 1 monster from your deck to your hand with the same type or attribute, so type or attribute as that monster and the same level as that monster's rank. Then place one card from your hand on top of the deck. Also, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except XYZ monsters. You can only activate 1 7 Tachyon per turn. All right, so what you're gonna do here, I'm just gonna show you guys the 7th Tachyon targets that we have. We have 3 7th Tachyon targets, okay? And we're gonna go ahead and cover. The first one is C101, all right? So C101 is a rank 5 water monster that is also aqua. So what can this grab us in our deck? This grabs us the Newman, all right? So C101 grabs us Newman. It's also aqua, so it can grab us Jokul. So not only can it grab us Newman, but it can also grab us Jokul by revealing it for 7th Tachyon. The next card, C102. C102 is a light fairy rank 5. All right, so this will allow us to grab Disablaster. So this grabs us Disablaster, and then it also can grab us Artifact Lancia, and before it could grab us Artifact Mjolnir. All right, so this is a very phenomenal card to push through boards because with 7th Tachyon, we can grab our Disablaster and start pushing through our opponent's board. All right, the next card that we have is C104. All right, and people are like, why C104? It is a dark spellcaster. This can literally search us our Jokul, our Lantern, and then it can also search the Cosmo Doll because it's a spellcaster as well. All right, so this can search us all 3 of those targets as well. All right, so these 3 cards pretty much searches us every piece of engine that we want in their deck, including the lock. All right, so this is our 7 Tachyon targets here. All right, and obviously I'm going to show you guys the lock version just for your guys' viewing. We're going to go over that. So first up, we're going to go ahead and activate our copy of Case for K9, which is then going to grab us our copy of Noroi. We'll go ahead and normal summon our copy of Noroi effect. Noroi will go ahead and bring us out our copy of Jokul. We'll go ahead and activate Jokul's effect. That is going to go ahead and grab us our copy of Lantern. Well, from here, we'll grab Jokul because we have to play as if our opponent's not interacting. So we have to play this differently because we want to play it as if our opponent's not interacting with us. Then from here, we're going to go ahead and activate our copy of Noroi, sending our copy of A Case for K9 to the grave to look at their hand. Now we have hand knowledge, all right? From here, what we're going to go ahead and do is overlay these guys into our copy of Ripper. I'm sorry, I gotta backtrack, guys. I gotta backtrack. I almost cheated you. I almost cheated all of you guys. You cannot add a copy of Jokul with Jokul. I'm sorry, I apologize. I cheated you guys there. Let me correct myself here. Somebody in the comments is gonna have a field day. I'm just kidding. We'll grab our copy of Lantern. So we do still have to do it this way, unfortunately. But, because Jokul cannot grab an Aqua, so we can't grab a Jokul. So then we'll go ahead, and we already sent this to look at our opponent's hand from Noroi. Noroi, go ahead and overlay into over Jokul for a copy of Ripper. And then we'll go ahead and activate Ripper's effect, send our copy of Noroi to the grave. And what we're gonna go ahead and grab here is our copy of Jokul. So now we'll grab our copy of Jokul from here. We will then go ahead and activate Lantern effect, targeting our Noroi. Activate Lantern effect again. And from here, to get maximum value, we're just gonna go ahead and grab Force Release because we looked at our opponent's hand. They're not interrupting us. We don't need Release Restraint. So we're just gonna go ahead and grab the Force because it's a better card. And then we'll go ahead and overlay these guys into our copy of Nash Knight. Now from here, what we're gonna go ahead and do is activate our copy of 7th Tachyon. And we are gonna go ahead and reveal our copy of C101, all right? So C101 is gonna go ahead, is an Aqua Water, which that is what Newman is, guys. I don't have Newman on me, so I'm gonna proxy, all right? So I don't have the Newman card on me, so we're just gonna go ahead and pull it out. This is Newman, all right? So this blank card is Newman, all right? So you have to watch the video and turn the sound on it to understand what's going on here, all right? You guys wanted the spice early, so I don't have my Newmans yet, but This is a copy of Newman Arat Tesdu, the rank 5 water aqua monster. All right, we'll go ahead and activate Jokel's effect, targeting the level 5 aqua monster Newman to special summon them both out. I'm sorry, 7 Tachyon still needs a resolve, guys. I'm sorry. This is what happens when you do videos after the gym. So you have to put a card on top of the deck after 7 Tachyon resolves, all right? So we'll go ahead and put a copy of Fualos on top of the deck. Then from there, we'll go ahead and use Jokel effect and summon out our Aqua level 5 water Newman right here. So Newman's right there. This is a floodgate. Newman says any monster with 1800 or less attack cannot be special summoned, all right? So your opponent is going to be pretty much locked out of the game, especially Yummy players, all right? So we'll have those on board, and then we have a copy of Force Release that we can set, and then we also have 2 cards in hand. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the board that we have. We have a Floodgate that our opponent is going to have to out. We have Force, which is going to give us another XYZ, most likely Werewolf, plus a pop. And then we also have Ripper, and then we also have a Nash Knight. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interruptions plus 2 non-engine. So this is pretty solid for being like a 2.5 card combo here, all right? And that's how powerful this lock is and how easy it is to get to with K9. So K9 didn't stop. They didn't stop much by getting rid of Mjolnir. There's always going to be something else to abuse, which is phenomenal because we love shutting our opponents out of the game, right? All right. So from here, we'll go ahead and do a couple more options here. Let's see, we'll grab a Jokel, grab a Disablaster, and we'll go ahead and grab us our nib or whatever. Doesn't really matter. All right, so we'll show a combo with just having a Jokel, right? So if you have a Jokel and another 5, especially this is like the best thing to see going second. All right, if you see these 2 going second, you're going to be able to push through their board pretty solid. Naturally, you have 3 other cards. We don't know what they are. It's just 3 random hand traps. But overall, we'll go ahead and start it off. Everybody should know what Jokel does. For people that don't know Disablaster, we'll go ahead and put it here. If this card, I'm sorry, if there is a column with no cards, you can special summon this card from your hand to your zone in that column. You can only special summon Disablaster the Negation Fortress once per turn this way. Negate any card effects activated in this card's column. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed, you place this card in the Pendulum zone. All right, so pretty cool. But the main effect that we want to notice is that whatever column we put this card in is going to negate that column. All right, so if you're playing into like a Draco Tail board or you're playing into a Yummy board, you put this into the problem column, all right? Because 9 times out of 10, people usually line their traps up, their spells and traps up with their boss monsters. So it's like perfect. You can negate 2 things right out the gate with this card. So what you can do and how you do this, because obviously you can only special summon to a zone that there's no cards in, right? You do this with Jokel. So you activate Jokel's effect, revealing the Disablaster, and then from there, if you don't respond, you summon it to whatever column you want. All right, so if maybe you got the Snatchy in this zone and you got a surprise back there, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and negate this column right here. So obviously always summon them in defense. And then from there, we got Jokel. And then if you're playing against Draco Tail, you summon both these guys in defense, right? And you're gonna know exactly what column to negate because they showed you what they're setting. So this is pretty crazy, right? So then we'll go ahead and activate Jokel's effect here. And that's going to go ahead and grab us our copy of Noroi. Now this is pretty cool because with the Noroi, right, and even if you're going second, so all the K9 monsters have the stipulation that they need to have, your opponent needs to have 2 plus cards in their hand to normal summon them without tributing. But with Jokel being out here right there, if they try to play around your K9 build because they set all their cards and they only have 1 card in hand, using Jokel's effect like this to tribute the Jokel and still normal summon Noroi is still very phenomenal, all right? So you can do a lot of pushing that way. All right, but we're going to continue playing like as if we're going first. We'll go ahead and normal summon our Noroi effect. we will go ahead and bring us out our copy of Lantern. And then from there, we'll go ahead and activate Lantern effect. And Lantern is gonna grab us the GOAT, a copy of A Case for K9. We will then go ahead and activate our copy of A Case for K9. And that's gonna go ahead and grab us another copy of Lantern. So we'll grab another copy of Lantern here. Also, I'm constantly repeating here because it does really matter. It really matters what cards are in your hand. All right, we're just basing this off of like a random 2-card combo right now. But then we'll go ahead and activate. We're on 4 summons right here, so let's go ahead and activate Norroy's effect to send A Case for K9 to look at our opponent's hand. Now we know if we're working against a nib or if what they have, why they haven't interacted with us yet, or blah, 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 blah. All right, so now that we have the hand knowledge, we'll go ahead and overlay these two into our copy of Ripper. And then we will go ahead and activate our Ripper's effect. And that is gonna grab us a copy of our Forced Release. From here, we'll go ahead and activate Lantern effect, targeting the Norroy. And then we will go ahead and XYZ summon again into, it doesn't really matter what we go into here. We'll just go ahead and go into a Nash Knight here. Now there is a really cool package that I did want to bring to you guys and that I was thinking about adding in here, and I'll go over that once I get that card as well. But essentially when you have 3 bodies here, the reason we're not doing this, right, is because we're locking our opponent out of this monster zone, so they have to bring their link monster to this zone. All right, so this card isn't bad going first because the moment they summon this, its effects are negated, so they can't really do anything. These summons naturally, they're not doing anything. All right, so that's just a phenomenal way to stop them right there. And then they have to play completely around it, right? So they're not getting to their field spell, which is just absolutely phenomenal. And if they can't get to their field spell, they're not going to be able to run over any of this. They have to hard draw it because of Disablaster. So from there, we'll go ahead and set our copy of Forced Release. Hopefully you have an Azuna in hand to make this Jokel even crazier. Or a Lupus. Even if you had a Lupus in hand, you had a brick like Lupus, that'd be crazy, because then you can just bring him out. But either way, guys, so you're ending on 3 cards in hand. You have a Forced Release, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interruptions, plus 3 cards in hand. So this is just a phenomenal setup with just pure K9, just nothing going on at all. And that is pretty much essentially it here for the video. Those cover just the standard basic lines and concepts that you guys should be thinking about as you're playing this deck. I don't want to drag this video on too long. I will do another version of this once we get the cards in that I've ordered. I can do another revised combo guide, but I guess I'll do one more for you guys. We'll go ahead and do a quick shuffle of the cards. Probably should power shuffle this because my ratios are probably going to be horrible since I just pulled out a bunch of hand traps to put in my hand. But we'll power shuffle this here, and then we'll go ahead and give it a cut, and we'll go ahead and do one test hand for you guys just so you guys can see what we're working with. All right, so we got, that's pretty crazy, right? So this is a pretty crazy hand here. Like, I mean, going first or second with a hand like this is just absolutely absurd, because we got the Jokel and the Disablaster here, and we got the 7th Tachyon as well. Like, I mean, if we're going first, we're locking our opponent out of the game. And then if we're going second, we got Fualos, Imperm, and then Disablaster with Jokel. So this is a pretty cracked hand, guys. I'm not gonna lie. This is like, I wouldn't mind this hand going second is just crazy, but I mean, we can still do stuff and things going first. So we'll go ahead and separate the hand traps, put those over here, and we'll go ahead and start this off properly. With this, if we're going first and these are my cards in hand, I'm most likely, just in case I get drolled, I'm just gonna start with 7th Tachyon.
only because I want to get my lockout since I already have Jokel. So we'll 7th Tachyon and then go ahead and reveal our Silent Horror to go ahead and grab our copy of Newman since it's a water and an aqua. It only needs to be one, but it's both, so it's even better. But we'll go ahead and reveal this to bring out our Newman to our hand. Again, I am going to proxy the Newman with my other copy of Disiblaster, so I'll flip it over. So we'll grab our copy of Newman here. And then from here, a really cool thing, right? So we got to put a card back, so naturally we'll keep the Imperm, we'll put back the Fualos on top of the deck. So what we can do here, guys, is pretty cool. Since there's no cards inside this column right here, we're going to utilize this link zone and we're going to lock our opponent out of the game. So we'll go ahead and special summon our Disiblaster to this column that has no cards in it, locking them out of their link zone. So this is like a double lock now, so this is pretty crazy. And then we'll go ahead and activate Jokel effect to special summon him plus the Newman. And then we'll go ahead and activate Jokel's effect to go ahead and add us a copy of Naroi. From here, now unfortunately with this, you already summoned multiple times. So you could honestly, we could hold this for later and not do that if we want to play around Nib. All right, so we do want to play around Nib, so we can wait on summoning out the Disiblaster. You can special summon them whenever. It's just once per turn. So we'll wait just because we want to play around Nib and see our opponent's hand. We'll go ahead and normal summon Naroi, activate Naroi's effect. Naroi's going to go ahead and same thing as before, he's going to grab us our copy of Lantern. And then from here, we'll go Lantern effect. Grab our copy of Case, activate our copy of Case, and we'll go ahead and grab us our copy of Lantern. Then from here, we will go ahead and activate Naroi's effects in our copy of Case to look at our opponent's hand. Now we know what our opponent's working with. Now we do have to remove the Lantern that we special summoned off of Naroi in order to be out of the Canine cards. So we'll go ahead and overlay, well, I'm not going to overlay the Jokel because I want the Jokel for follow-up if it doesn't get destroyed, but most likely will. We'll go ahead and grab us our copy of Ripper here. And then we'll go ahead and send our copy of Naroi to the grave, detaching it to activate the Ripper effect to add a Canine card, which we will go ahead and add us our copy of Forced. So now we have our Forced release here. Then from here, we'll go ahead and activate our Lantern, targeting our Naroi. And then we'll go ahead and overlay these two into this zone, into our copy of Nash Knight to be able to suck up a nice monster for us. We'll go ahead and set our copy of Force here, and then we'll activate Disiblaster effect to special summon himself. And then we will go ahead and set an Imperm over here, just because why not? So now if we look at our board with a full hand here, uninterrupted, if we got, and the funny part about this, guys, is if we got interrupted, this board would be crazier. It would be crazier because Azuna, Lupus would be live. It would be a lot more bodies. Ripper would have been getting double value off of his effect. So we'd have a lot more if our opponent interacted with us. But without our opponent interacting with us at all, we have 1 floodgate, 2 floodgates, 1, 2 interruptions. So that's 4 interruptions, 5 interruptions, 6 interruptions, 7 interruptions. All right, and I mean, these are 2 hardcore floodgates because we're locking them out of their extra monster zones, activating effects in their extra monster zones right now. And then on top of that, we have a floodgate right here. We have a Force, we have an additional Imperm for shits and giggles. We got the Ripper, we got a rank up into Werewolf. That's also an additional, hand rip. We got the Nash Knight to suck up a monster. That is just absolutely crazy with the hand that we got, right? So, and it would have been crazier if we had, obviously, our opponent interacting with us because K9 thrives when we interact. Like, I pray that somebody ashes me or hits me with a Fua because he hit me with the Fua, he hit me with the Nash, then sweet, all my stuff is live. So, but that is pretty much it, guys. Now you guys got to see a little bit of a test hand and how powerful this deck is. I'm glad that we got a pretty crazy hand to show you like how powerful it is going first. Even going second, that would have still been a phenomenal hand as you guys saw. So Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Peace.
All right, y'all. So I hope you guys enjoyed that Pure Canine combo guide. I hope I covered everything. If I did make any mistakes or if I didn't cover something, hit it in the comments, guys, because you know I always want to put out the most accurate information. I do my best to keep this as 100% legit as possible, but I am human. I do make mistakes. So please always hit in the comments. I always appreciate you guys shouting out if I missaid something, or you know, or if you guys know like another line or you want to try something else. You guys always hit in the comment, and we all feed off that energy. That's what we're building out here with this creative community. All right, we're all feeding off of each other, giving ideas and helping each other overall. All right, and that's what I love about this community that we're building right now. All right, so make sure you guys are hitting in the comments and calling it out. All right, sometimes I be having crazy leg days and my butt's getting kicked, right? So my head's not all there. If you got my swollies, you understand. You know, if you're my swollies, you understand. You know, you have those leg days, man. And you're just like, you're going through the motions, right? So I always appreciate you guys hollering at me, let me know, hey, yo, by the way, this. All right, we need that. All right, everybody needs to get checked. All right, so I appreciate all of you guys. And if you guys got friends, if you guys got family, if you guys got people at your locals that are creative or need some inspiration, whether it's with the card game or with physical, you know, just physical motivation to get out there, send them the link to the channel, bro. We're all about positive vibes and growing all around. All right, so make sure you guys are sending out there. We're almost to 500 subscribers, guys. The first giveaway on this channel is happening at 500 subscribers. I can't wait to do that with y'all. I'm gonna do a very unique way of doing the giveaway. It's gonna be cool. I'm gonna make a separate video for the giveaway, so everybody knows who won the giveaway. All right, and then you guys, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. And we're not doing no petty giveaway like these other YouTubers out here with here's my spreadsheet, or here's the structure deck Blue Eyes card. Like, we're gonna give some meta relevant, meta impactful cards. All right, whether it be an engine, whether it be just, you know, some expensive staples that are out there that's not necessarily that easy to attain. We're gonna do something like that. And right now I'm kind of fixated on doing my extra playset of Neroyce. I know that's a hot card right now. It's pretty up there. I mean, 20 bucks is 20 bucks, right? So 60 bucks a playset. So, and it could go back up too. So who knows? But you know, I might do that. You guys have any ideas for what the giveaway should be, whether it be a Starlight of your favorite card or you name it, hit it in the comments. I'll consider it. I'll think about it. Right now, I'm thinking about doing that. Maybe I'll do like an Azamina Core 2, something for you guys that is just gonna help you out. Or maybe just like, maybe you just need staples, right? Maybe you guys need like a playset of Ash, a playset of Nibs, and a playset of Drolls, and a playset of Ogres, or a playset of Veilers. And you know, maybe I just do like 15 hand traps so you guys can just have the fundamentals to start building a deck right now, right out the gate, right? But listen, we'll go ahead and do all that coming up very soon. We have so much to cover on this channel, guys, so I'm pumping these out right now. Immediately following this video, I will be working on Mitsu variants, all right? So I am still waiting on quite a bit of cards to come in for some different deck cores and some different deck ideas, but we are going to be covering a lot of Mitsu. And guys, I cracked a crazy pile. Shout out to my dog, Brenton. He's been helping me out with the Mitsu Canine variants. He has his own unique take on it. He kind of led me towards a pile a little bit. And then with Triff's kind of idea with his whole Miracle Raven Yummy Mitsu mix, I kind of got my own idea with this archetype that was forgotten, and that can also lock your opponent out of the game. Konami needs to stop printing these generic cards that we can abuse, all right? So I got another level 5 that is not Newman that can lock you out of the game and you can get to consistently, all right? So you guys are probably like, damn, what is this, all right? Yep, I'm gonna cover it, all right? I'm gonna cover it. I need those cards to come in. I need to test ratios. I need to play test with it. And then once I figure all that out, I will put that deck list on there. That will be coming. But for the meantime, we'll be working on the Mitsu Primite build because that one's just so much fun. Mitsu Primite's crazy. All right, we play Advanced Virtual Art in there. I don't even say more. Yo, when's the last time y'all seen Advanced Virtual Art? Yo, this you do Advanced Virtual Art and you pair that with the Primite Fusion, dude. Now you're locking them out of the game with literally like Link 2s and level 2s and under. Who's playing? Who's playing the game? No one. All right, so Primite Fusion, oh my God, guys, I'm cooking so hard with that one. But so that one's gonna be coming pure Mitsu. I'm gonna do pure Mitsu build because I feel like a lot of people just like the general Mitsu build. So we're gonna go ahead and cover the pure Mitsu builds. I will do a revised Azamina Mitsu build, and then also a Fiendsmith Mitsu build. I know some people out there that are on my channel are not a fan of Mitsu. I understand, don't worry, we got more sauce with the canines, all right? I mean, because we got Canine Fiendsmith loading, we got Canine Azamina needs an update since the post-ban list, all right? We got Canine Primite, all right? Canine Primite is fun because there's generic level 5 aquas and pyros and stuff like that you can throw in to make your chaotic elements actually retain a little bit more value. So it's pretty cool. Like, there's some unique things that we can do to make it pretty, like, spicy. All right, so canine primate is kind of fun. And then also I'm going to make a canine Castira because a lot of people have asked me, what do I think about cash cards? I think cash cards are phenomenal. I think they're phenomenal into this format, the bait out interaction, the force interaction. So I'm sure a lot of people really want to see that, especially considering now that D-Berry is gone, we don't really need to worry about us being XYZ locked and having to use other things, you know what I'm saying? So we can just XYZ all day for free. So I will put that out as well. So Canine Castira will be coming out too. Very excited for that one, guys. And we'll continue to refine Pure. Once I get the Newman in, I will go ahead and redo a deck profile as well. It should be self-explanatory if you watched the last deck profile on Pure Canine because I covered what card you're going to cut for it. But I'll go over it again as things develop because, you know, the meta is constantly changing as we see events. And once we see Pittsburgh, you know, we kind of can see what other people are on and how we can adapt and refine our decks towards that. We also... There's so much information to give you guys. I'm sorry, I'm overloading you guys right now, but it's okay. It's okay because you guys need it. You guys need information overload right now with everything that's happening in the game. All right, we're gonna have to go over siding for you guys. All right, I will cover how you're supposed to side and also how to build your side based off the deck you are running. All right, I will do a separate video. It might just be a video of me talking to you guys. I might just do it like that instead of just doing the PowerPoint again for this. So I'll do just the interaction guys on a PowerPoint. I feel like that's easier because it's not really me needing to show you cards. It's just me talking about what you need to do. All right. And so I'll probably just do a short video of proper siding procedures and you guys can look at this beautiful bald face and I'm sorry, but and we'll cover the siding procedures, how to side for your decks. All right, so I will make sure that's out there too. I know a lot of people have issues with the sides, what to side, how to side out, and stuff like that. Your side deck should guarantee you the next 2 games. All right, so even if you flop game 1, you should be able to win the next 2 games because your side is perfect, right? So we will cover that. We will get into that. Very excited. So much on the way for you guys. And just stay tuned, stay blessed, keep hitting the comments, and let's keep growing this follower, let's keep growing this community, and build something absolutely amazing in Yu-Gi-Oh! That no one else has. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one.